Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. It begins with a seemingly routine landing at Kodiak Airport, Alaska. An Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 8, flight as-231 from Anchorage, descends toward the runway, engines humming, landing gear down. For passengers and crew, it's just another short, familiar journey. But as the wheels touch down on July 24, 2025, a deer darts onto the runway. The collision is sudden and violent. The deer is killed, and the aircraft's landing gear is damaged. No one on board is hurt, but the incident is a stark reminder. Even the most reliable systems can be upended by the unpredictable. This wasn't a catastrophic crash, but it exposed a different kind of vulnerability, one rooted in the environment, not the machine. For all our engineering, nature remains a wild card. The Kodiak deer strike is more than a fluke. It's a symbol of the friction between our structured world and the untamed one outside. It challenges our assumptions about safety, reminding us that risk often comes from the edges, not the center. The quiet alarm from Alaska rings out. Even small threats can test the resilience of our most robust systems. To grasp the Kodiak incident's significance, we must look at aviation's history, a story of triumph, but also of hard-learned lessons. Every major accident has driven improvements in technology and safety, making flying one of the safest ways to travel. Yet, recent years have seen troubling signs, deadly crashes, near misses, and ground collisions. In 2025 alone, a crash in Washington, D.C. killed 67, and ground incidents at LaGuardia in Seattle raised alarms. These aren't isolated events. They point to a system under strain. The FAA, once a bulwark of safety, now faces staff shortages and eroding capacity. Critical teams like the Obstacle Data Team have been cut to the bone. The Kodiak deer strike is another data point in a growing pattern, a system tested not just by disasters, but by 1,000 small failures. The echoes of past mistakes are getting louder, urging us to pay attention. Back in Kodiak, the deer strike disabled a multi-million-pound aircraft and disrupted a vital island lifeline. Alaska Airlines, already facing a string of incidents in 2025, now had to manage another operational crisis. Each event, whether a runway slide, a ground collision, or a violent passenger, might seem isolated, but together, they reveal systemic stress. Kodiak's remote location brings unique challenges. Airports here are embedded in wilderness, not insulated from it. The deer strike wasn't the first. A bear was hit at Yakutat Airport just months earlier. These incidents highlight a blind spot. As we focus on technology and human factors, we risk overlooking the environment itself. True aviation safety means managing not just machines and people, but the ecosystems our airports inhabit. The deer on the runway is a microcosm of a larger problem. Our systems must adapt to the world as it is, not just as we design it. A jetliner colliding with a wild animal is a jarring clash of worlds. Precision engineering meets unpredictable nature. The 737's landing gear, built to withstand immense forces, was crippled by a single deer. This wasn't a minor dent, it was a structural failure, grounding the aircraft and triggering a cascade of logistical headaches. Wildlife strikes are more common than most realize. Thousands occur annually in the US, often involving birds. But larger animals like deer or bears pose a far greater threat. These incidents usually happen during takeoff or landing, when aircraft are most vulnerable. Airports in rural areas surrounded by wildlife face the highest risk. The problem is habitat overlap. Airfields attract grazing animals, creating hazardous zones. Airport operators must balance sterile runways with dynamic ecosystems. The Kodiak collision wasn't a failure of pilots or planes, but of the barrier between nature and machine. It's a reminder. Aviation safety depends as much on what happens on the ground as in the air. The Kodiak incident may have started with a deer, but aviation safety is deeply tied to the human element. Air traffic controllers and FAA staff are under immense pressure, and recent staff shortages have real-world consequences. When critical teams are understaffed, vital information can become outdated, increasing hidden risks. Overworked controllers face fatigue and stress, key precursors to error. Recent ground collisions and in-flight disturbances show how stretched the system has become. The human element is both aviation's strength and its vulnerability. When the system is under-resourced, its ability to handle the unexpected, be it a violent passenger or a deer on the runway, diminishes. The Kodiak strike is part of this ecosystem of risk. A system under strain is less resilient to surprise. The Kodiak deer strike's impact rippled far beyond a damaged plane. Passengers faced delays and uncertainty. The Kodiak community lost a vital link to the outside world. In remote places, air travel is essential. Disruptions affect everything from medical care to commerce. For Alaska Airlines, one grounded aircraft triggered a domino effect, canceled flights, displaced crews, and costly rebooking. Each incident chips away at public trust and the airline's reputation. Insurance costs rise as risk profiles worsen, making operations more expensive. The financial and operational ripples last long after repairs are made. The incident also forces a re-evaluation of wildlife management and risk strategies at airports worldwide. Are current deterrents and policies enough? The Kodiak event becomes a catalyst for industry-wide review. One deer on a runway has forced the entire industry to confront an overlooked risk. To understand the stakes, listen to those on the front lines. Pilots and air traffic controllers. For pilots, a wildlife strike is a sudden emergency demanding skill and calm. Their training prepares them, but they rely on a robust system, accurate information, reliable maintenance, and secure airfields. When staff shortages and rising incidents erode these safety buffers, confidence falters. Pilots and controllers are the last line of defense, but they can't be the only one. From the tower, a disabled aircraft means chaos. Rerouted flights, closed runways, and mounting stress. Understaffed teams feel the strain acutely. Their effectiveness depends on the support and data they receive. The Kodiak incident wasn't caused by human error, but it exposed the fragility of the system. Every part of the aviation safety ecosystem must function at its peak to keep the skies safe. The Kodiak collision is a call to action, a prompt to rethink airport safety for the modern era. Wildlife management must be a priority, especially at rural airports. Solutions include robust fencing, habitat modification, and active deterrents like pyrotechnics or trained dogs. The cost of prevention is far less than the cost of a single major incident. But the issue goes deeper. The health of the entire aviation system is at stake. FAA staffing and resources must be strengthened. These aren't bureaucratic luxuries, but investments in public safety. We need a cultural shift, from reacting to accidents to proactively learning from near misses and minor incidents. The Kodiak strike, and others like it, are warnings from a system under stress. Better data, transparency, and commitment from all stakeholders are essential. The safety of our skies depends on listening to these quiet alarms. The deer on the runway at Kodiak is a small story with a big lesson. Safety in aviation is not a fixed state, but a constant, active pursuit. The remarkable safety record we enjoy was built on vigilance and relentless improvement. Recent incidents show this culture is being tested. The public must support a stronger, better resourced FAA and heed the concerns of aviation professionals. Safety is not a given. It's a daily commitment. The Kodiak incident is a warning, one that connects regulatory decisions in Washington to real dangers in Alaska. Investing in safety infrastructure, both physical and human, is essential. The deer on the runway is a symbol of the unexpected, of the limits of control, and of the need for humility and vigilance. Our vigilance on the ground ensures safety in the skies.